Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my studio. I hope everybody's well. Today we're going to have a bit of a play with some watercolour pencils. You know how there are some days when you don't want to take anything too seriously, you don't want to get involved with stretching paper, you don't want to do a big wash, you don't want to concentrate on doing a massive drawing, you just feel like you might like to create something pretty. Well, I went through loads of ideas today before I finally decided to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do a little bit of a game, a little bit of a play with some flowers. And I don't want to do a big serious watercolour painting. I just want to enjoy doing something which I know is easy. And I'm not looking to, stun the world with my brilliant art. This is just something for people to do with a minimum of equipment. I have got a set of watercolour pencils, Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer set, which my daughter had a long time ago and didn't really use very much, so it's all still there, perfect for me to use, so I'm going to be using that. But if you've just got a set of 24, it doesn't matter because you definitely don't need 100. I'm probably going to use these here, so there's about 9. There are 9 there, so I probably won't even use all of those, but we'll see. And I'm going to use some sketch paper for this. This is a thin paper, probably about 100 grams, rather than the 300 grams that watercolour paper normally is. And this is my sketch that I did earlier, which is what I'm going to use as to follow along with, so to speak, so that I don't forget what I'm doing halfway through, because it's a bit like that when you start to get old. You forget what day of the week it is. So what I thought I would do is, first of all, I'm going to turn that page over, so at least I'm starting on a blank page. I know that people are worried about the cost of things these days. I know I am. And you don't always want to use a page of paper that's cost you $1. Sometimes you don't. So this can be done in any sketchbook. Doesn't matter how bad the paper is, it'll just be fine. So if you feel like just messing around and you don't feel like risking wasting money, for whatever reason, this is a possibility for you. It's just a suggestion. So my intention was to just do a couple of shelves of geraniums in pots, and I'm just going to make it up. I made it up more or less as I went along. Everyone has problems with perspective and accuracy and everything, but don't worry, because it doesn't matter. Who cares? So I picked up this one here, which is warm grey, and this is just a soft watercolour pencil, and I've just popped that in, varying the texture, the pressure a little bit. I will put a link to suitable paper, suitable pencils, suitable brushes and so on below the video, so you can follow those links if you would like to support us if you're going to buy anything. Like I say, probably most of the things I use you've got. Anyway, this is just a round brush. This is a size 7 nylon round draw well brush from Japan. Any brush would do. I like these ones because they last forever. So I'm just going to drop in a little bit of water into my shelf, or my stone edge of the stone bench, I think that probably looks like, rather. Imagine that this might be just an arrangement in the garden. I've got my pot of water, I've got my nice old towel. I do like to try to recycle things, so rather than using paper towel, I use an old towel that's going to go into the bin eventually. Keep it alive a little bit longer. Now, so the first pot, it's up to you entirely what shape you do them, what colour you do them. Maybe I'll start with this colour. I do suggest that you try out the colours first. So if this one is sanguine, and so we'll just do that. And and that's a kind of terracotta colour, isn't it? So let's do the first one in terracotta. And so the way I do it, I don't do a drawing first for things like this. I just draw in the pencil, and I'm not going to be in any way careful whatsoever, and because the way I do it is kind of combination of pencil work and painting. So I'm just going to drop that in like that, and then we'll do the wider bit at the top like that, and we'll say the light's coming from this side, so there should be a little bit of shadow on that side, and we'll just vaguely sketch that in, decreasing the amount of shadow as it goes over in that direction. And then, so I'm going to put that to one side, and then the leaves, this colour is apple green. It's as good as anything. Now, the shape of a geranium leaf is roughly circular, and they have sort of, generally speaking, a kind of frilly edge a little bit. But because these are fairly small, we're not going to worry too much about details. So I'm just going to basically scribble. So if you are in one of those moods where, like I am today, where you can't be bothered to take too much care and time over something, this is a really good exercise. So we're just going to put the colour in, varying the pressure, put in a few stems, maybe a few indications of veins, and we'll put the stalk up here with some more leaves, and we'll just keep them really loose because we're going to make them wet in a minute. So I'm just going to go for another colour. This one is moss green. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? So to give a little bit of variety, put another leaf there, put some darker kind of thing there, and maybe we have a stem here, stem there, and I'm going to put some flowers there. I thought this was quite nice. This is rose carmine, and so we'll just, because the flowers are sort of circular, globular kind of things. I never can make these flowers grow very well. They don't, I don't know why, because they're supposed to grow really well in France, but mine don't. So anyway, that's rose carmine, and then scarlet lake, a favourite colour in the paint world. I used that the other day to paint poppies with, didn't we? And if you haven't got scarlet lake in your set of paints, you might want to think about getting it, because it's a lovely transparent bright red colour. Put a little bit of red there, and then the exciting bit happens. We're going to put the water on, so just take our clean brush, and you can start at the top or at the bottom. I think I'll start at the bottom. Just wet that loosely and let it flow, and you're going to get a certain amount of texture and interesting shapes. Don't interfere with it too much, don't want to smooth it all out. And then we're going to go over the flowers that we've scribbled in, and you'll see that the scribbling gives you all sorts of variety in the flower, which you couldn't possibly achieve if you did it all on purpose. And then clean your brush, and then do the leaves. And if you feel that it's not dark enough, that the colour is too light, wait for it to dry, because if you come in again now with watercolour, you can do that. You definitely can. If you do that, you'll get much darker colour. So you need to be very careful about that. See, that's going to be much darker, and you may or may not want to do that. Because this is, I know this is not the way that some people do watercolour pencil painting, but it's the way I do it. So we'll leave that to dry, and then we'll come back, and there might be something to touch up there. Okay, so I'm going to do a lighter coloured pot now, a sort of orangey one, and we'll just let that organically grow like that, and then we'll do the top, and then maybe for the shadow on that, we might use a slightly darker brown, or a light brown but a slightly darker colour. I think that one's broken by the look of it. But we'll just walk some of that in. And then we repeat the same process. So we will come in with, maybe I might use a slightly bluish, no, maybe I won't. Perhaps I'll use a yellowish green. This one maybe. This is light green. So we might draw some stems. And I put some. I know we're not really in geranium season yet, but I don't know about you, but I've just about had enough of grey, dismal weather. And so I want to paint something with some colour in it. This time of year, well, the daffodils have started to come up, but they're not going to be flowering for ages yet. They just sit there going, no, 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 I'm not going to flower. And then they come out, usually when we're not here, and go away on holiday in the spring or Easter or something. But we won't be doing that this year. This is Pompeian red, right? I know that's a kind of dark reddish colour. We can stick a bit of that up here too, maybe. Maybe we put a bit of darker green in there, because the geranium leaves quite often have a sort of dark ring around inside or around the leaf. Okay, so now the exciting bit with the water. I love that when the water hits the pencil and it all becomes paint. It's lovely. And we'll do the leaves first this time. And the great thing about this is that if you feel you haven't quite got enough leaves in, just drag some of the paint out that you're releasing, and you can kind of grow your geranium in front of your very eyes. And these ones are going to be on the pink side. And we might want to put a bit of shadow underneath the pots. And then the third one, let's make a nice, what do you call it, a teacup type of arrangement. We're going to do something low down here, just a bowl shape, perhaps. Like that. And then let's draw a stem. You could finish these off with pen and ink if you wanted to as well. Let's do some of these in this colour. This is grey-green. I was going to say, I was thinking about snowdrops and things like that, which are the earliest, and the crocuses aren't out yet, but snowdrops and aconites are. And then I realised that a few other artists have already done snowdrops to death, and then I thought, oh, well, maybe you don't even have them in America, and you're absolutely not interested whatsoever in painting snowdrops. So I'd like, if you wouldn't mind leaving me a message in the comments below, please. I would love to know how many people. I expect you probably get them in the. I don't know. I haven't actually no idea. Do you get snowdrops, and would you be interested in painting them? Because, like I say, I think Wendy, I can't remember her name, Wendy something, has done them, and I don't know, several people seem to have done snowdrops lately. Oh yeah, that's her name, Emma. She did something snowdroppy. So I don't want to be seen or thought to be copying anyone. We all take ideas from Pinterest, but I try not to do the same thing as another artist, just it doesn't seem right somehow. But. So I moved forward in the calendar to spring, or in Europe, summer, early summer, and plumped for the geraniums and a relaxed approach. Still not quite dry. But you can probably go in and do a few. Don't know how this is going to work. I don't normally do that. Yeah. Okay, so I let that dry, and I'm going to put a few more darks in now. So I've picked up some sap green, which I'm going to add here more or less in the darkest places that looks like where it's going to be in most shadow, sort of underneath the leaves. Perhaps we might extend that leaf over the edge of the pot a little bit, maybe, because we can wet this again anyway, and we might want to sort of sharpen up where the stems are a little bit and kind of emphasize the sort of circularity of some of these leaves. Something like that. And then we could also put in a little bit more shape on the pot. Could do a lot to that. You could make it look more darker underneath as well, where it actually goes inside, I suppose. Yeah, I think I feel as if I want that leaf to be there over the edge. And then if you want to wet it then, and you can increase the amount of pink up here, sort of put more shape into the flowers if you want. And make them a bit darker on one side than on the other, perhaps. I think that a lot of you will probably find this a really nice painting to do, because you can take your time over it much more than I can. And I have to say, I know that a lot of the time, you ladies out there, you make much better paintings than I do. And you really, you know, you take your time and you make it all lovely. But I think this is a nice way of doing flowers, because they don't really want that much effort put into them, do they? So then you could also, like I said, you could add pen if you want. You can come in with, this is a Stettler Pigment Liner, and I would either you would do it to all of them or not, but I'm not going to do it to all of them here because this is just a demonstration. So you might just outline some of the leaves. You might increase some of the stems a little bit, put in some of the veins. Probably could do with a little bit more colour, so I think that sap green is quite a good colour. I can find it. Where did it go? That's olive green. Is it this one? Yeah. So put a little bit more green up here. Feels like lunchtime. Make that a little bit wet. And then, if we feel like it, we can do another shelf down there. Oops. So let's see. I had a nice pinkish Pompeian red, that's it. So we'll do this one in Pompeian red. Maybe I'll do a low bowl. I know geraniums don't really like to grow in shallow containers much, but and we will put in our leaves. Varying the colours the same as we would if we were doing this with paint. Starting to get our cockerels nice and tame. We've separated them from the girls, which for the sake of the girls, because, you know, being jumped on every 5 minutes by some rampant, randy cockerel is really not what they signed up for. And it's, so we've got the boys separate. So if you hear them calling out like that, it's because they're like, excuse me, but where's my girlfriend? And oh yes, and yesterday, you remember Zen, our little dog, we took him to the vet to be neutered. And you know that we rescued him because he just turned up at the house. Don't want these to turn into roses, do we? Lost and hungry and everything. So we, well, it's not quite true, but anyway, that'll do for now. That part of the story. Another person was involved, but anyway. Anyhow, it turned out that he actually had a chip on him. That is to say, he had a microchip and belonged to somebody. And the vet had to call, of course, to find out whether the owner wanted him back. She called this chap and he said, "Oh no, I gave him away 2 years ago." So she was able to help us to sign him over to us. So now he's officially going to be ours. But I'm afraid he doesn't have his manhood anymore. We've got 3 other dogs, 2 of which are girls, and it's just not on, really. Okay, so I don't know how this one's going to come out. Put some more dark around there. Let's see what happens when I take the paintbrush to it. Quite a relief. It was quite stressful, actually. I thought I was going to have a panic attack if they'd said that we couldn't keep the dog. I thought, oh my God. But the original owner wasn't really interested. He lives in an apartment anyway, so he couldn't really have a dog anymore. And put some more dark down here. And I think one more and that will be it. So let's do this one in orange. And let's do a nice, oops, I made a bit of a smudge there. I have to see if I can get that off. A nice long thingy. What's it? We'll put the flowers in first this time, I think. If anyone's got any suggestions for flowers that we can paint that they'd be interested to see my particular personal take on, please let me know in the comments below. There's a little bit of a kind of issue between what you have in America and what we have over here. I'm in France. It's a little bit different from England. I don't speak about England anymore. Lunatic country. Going mad, everybody over there. I don't know why somebody doesn't get up and do something about what's going on politically over there. I really don't. Anyway, that's enough said about that. What was I saying? Oh yes. So yeah, what flowers do you enjoy? I was thinking about having a go at painting an orchid. They're horribly difficult. Right, so here goes for the last pot. And I think I need a little bit more red in these flowers. The more you can try to paint sort of intuitively and just let go of the control. I mean, you might hate it. I might hate this when it's dry. I might look at it and say, well, that's pathetic. And you won't get to see it then. But if I can see any kind of learning experience here for you, then I'll put it up, because we're all learning together, aren't we? You can never be done with learning, in my opinion. Lifelong learning. That was always my mantra when I was a teacher. Not that anyone listened. So that's the leaves on that one then. And just put a little bit of shadow underneath. This paper is not impressed by this experience. I quite like the effect of when you put the pencil back into the wet paper. It's really quite nice. You get lots of texture. I need a dark brown. What's that? Olive green. That's not brown, is it? I'll put a little bit of olive green in here, perhaps. It's all nice and runny. Let that dry, I think. Oh yeah, and the other thing I was going to say is, the good thing about pencil is that if you want to do a background, let's say for example we wanted to do, where's it gone, the grey, a light grey, let's find a lighter grey. If you want to do a little bit of background, just hold the whole thing together, just come in with a pencil. And you might or might not want to wet that. If you do, you can wet part of it. And then down here as well. Should be able to get that mistake off there, but if you can't, it's not the end of the world. It's not terribly good paper, so it does tend to hold on. Okay, so that's that. I will let that dry and then I'll show you the final painting. So there we are, that's done. I hope you enjoyed watching me do that. Maybe you've picked up one or two ideas for yourself and you might want to explore something along these lines. So there's that. Don't forget to leave any comments, questions or anything else below. I'll put links to the different materials that I used in the description below. And also, there won't be a sketch for this one because I didn't do a sketch, I didn't do a drawing, but So there are sketches over all the other videos, almost all the other videos, and they're all free on our website. So pop over to dianeantone.com. I think there's also another geranium which I did in pen and ink, which is a video which we'll put in the link below as well, or maybe even on the screen for a card here. That's another one I did with a little bit more drawing involved in that one. And yeah, so I don't want to keep you hanging around. I'm sure you'll be dying to get out your pencils or your paints. You don't need pencils to do this. Of course, you can do it with paints and a pen or a pencil, whatever you want. So I will let you go, and I'm off to make lunch, and I'll see you again soon. So I hope you're all having a lot of fun on your painting journey, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye-bye.